say, this is Boss and Men Speaking Out. I'm back again with Frank Sell, founder of Get Shit Done Coffee, right? Frank, how you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm keeping the wheels round. We're out there running the streets.
Round and round we go, huh?
Yep.
So I want to tell the listeners real quick that this is Frank's second time around. Frank was actually on episode 96 back in May of 2026 here recently. And now I'm checking on Frank to see how life has been for him. Trying to also, Frank and I have become Facebook friends as well, which is pretty cool, right? He's got to see what's going on in my life and see what's going on in his, And like I said before on the description, this is a different kind of show for a different kind of guest. And the guest name is Frank Sell, my man. So Frank, dude, tell me, how's your summer been so far?
Well, I've only had, I think, 2 days off this summer. It's been busy, really busy.
2 days off. Okay,
yeah,
let's talk about that. Well, why 2 days off? I mean, we're in July. What's going on with that, man?
Yeah. So like we talked about last time, I think, my main career, my main income source is a business that I started 23 years ago now. And I live in central Kansas, the heart of Tornado Alley.
Yeah.
And I fixed hail damage on cars. So, I mean, I might be known for the Get Shit Done coffee, but my entrepreneur start was I bought that $100 videotape to learn how to fix hail damage on cars about 25 years ago. Taught myself how to do it. And we've built up a book of business that it hails anywhere in central Kansas. We've got a piece of the action. Well, it has stormed all over central Kansas. So we have 4 different locations going. Actually, I'd say like 4.5 locations because I service multiple body shops as a subcontractor because body shops don't do this repair for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They contract experts like me. That's all I do. And so we're helping out 3 different towns that had storms. And so I have guys positioned in each town. I have my own retail location in my hometown. And then I'm also going out and servicing the other body shops on a 1-by-1 basis, as needed basis. So it's like I kind of compare it to farming and harvest season. Like you don't get to choose when the wheat is ready to cut. When the wheat's ready to cut, you cut it until it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we operate. So we don't have the opportunity to work 12 months out of the year. And so when the work comes in, everything else gets pushed to the side, to a degree, and we just work until the work's done.
Wow. So that's just how it goes, right? You just basically you keep going and going like the Energizer battery, then pretty much, huh?
Yeah, if I leave the shop at 5 o'clock, I feel like I worked half a day or something. It just doesn't feel right.
See, okay, and that's one thing, and I can really appreciate that work ethic, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back, right, to the title of this podcast, right? Make America Grind Again. Mm-hmm. So, obviously you're grinding. Now, of course, obviously this phrase comes from your coffee, right? Your product in the background. However, I like that so much. I was like, you know what? My dad always told me, he said, son, my dad, he went to college, got a degree. He had, he was an auditor for the government. Right? He did all the right steps, but he told me, he said, son, when it comes to hustling, either you're born or you're sworn into it. And I was like, Dad, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
He was like, when you're sworn into it, something has to happen, and you raise your right hand and say, you know what, I'm gonna get out here and make this money. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. So either you're born into it, basically ancestry, that is.
Yeah.
Parents got money, now I got money, kids got money, and so on and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So that's the sworn or born. That's want to make sure the listeners understand, what that really means and the difference between the two. So I get it, right? I get exactly what you're saying. However, the American dream.
Yeah.
Is it obtainable?
It is.
Do you have to work hard to get there? Or nowadays, can you be a content creator and obtain it? You know what I mean? What's the difference between our age and them and our younger generation? And The older generation.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it is just the lens that we look at the world through, and our perception, and that comes from everything down to, our purpose, why we feel like we're here. But I know for me, when I started this entrepreneur journey, my big, the BHAG, the big hairy audacious goal
Mhm.
was to make $100,000 a year. And as I have grown and matured, my definition of success financially has changed big time. Because at 27 years old, making, I mean, God, this is over 20 years ago.
Right.
With overtime, I was making $50,000 a year
Hey, that was good money, man, back
in
then.
2000. Yeah, yeah.
That was
I
good
had all the
money, man.
bennies. I had 4 weeks paid vacation and all the stuff at
Sure.
27 back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yes.
And I also had a 401k. And so I think what has changed a lot over the years is that, and that's why I started the coffee brand, because Jim Rohn talks about this a lot, and I love some of his teachings. I love all of his teachings. He's just a great speaker, a great mentality, Jim Rohn. And he says profits are better than wages. And so why I say that, what that means is that we don't define and we don't understand the different ways to earn money and what money will do for us. We think of working for money as a wage, and it's what I've taught my kids their whole life. They talk about getting a $15 an hour job or a $10 an hour job as a kid or whatever. And I've always told them, never focus on the money, focus on the value that you bring to the marketplace. Meaning, educate yourself, refine your craft, whatever it may be. Because, like, for me, when I started out in the hail damage business, I didn't know come here from Sikkim. All I knew is I barely knew how to fix dents on cars, how to fix hail damage, door dings, barely knew. But as I grew in maturity and business, I began to understand that, oh, well, the money's made in asking for it. Sales.
Right.
Oh, the money is grown by managing it. And so your money will work for you 24/7. And so as I've matured, I've just changed my definitions of money, from whether it's income or profits or whether it's, rentals, passive money, whatever. So it's just taken time for me to kind of get an understanding on how money works and how money will work for me as well.
Right. But here's the thing, though, Frank. Right? I think I remember you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong. You were saying that your family name,
Mhm.
right? It is very well known in your community,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So obviously, I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong. Now I've been wrong plenty of times. As that did that play a role in helping you build your network, right? Helping you become successful, even in the dent repairs business, and of course
Mhm.
eventually in your coffee business, right?
Yep.
And your father, who made sure that his name wasn't mud. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
sometimes, like father, like son, right? And so he had to really play a role in making sure that when it was your turn to shine,
Mhm.
you had to deliver in honor to honor him, but he set the tone for you.
Yeah, yeah, and I've seen that from my kids as well. So, like, my son, he's got a job at a
Mhm.
body shop, the same industry that I work in. He started working for me at 14 years old. I could tell him any car in the parking lot, I need the headliner taken out, I need the headlights, tail lights. At 14, he'd
Mhm.
go out there and he'd do it. Wouldn't break stuff. So he not only, leveraged my name, my dad's name, plus our skill sets to get his job.
Mhm.
My daughter had a sales job selling equipment, rental equipment, and so on. And as soon as she would say, "Yeah, I'm Madison Sell," oh, are you Frank's daughter?
There you
I
go.
love that dude. Yeah, so
Yeah. See, and that's what I'm talking about, right? Part of that American dream, right? I mean,
yeah,
obviously, we have two different backgrounds, come from two different, parts of the world,
hmm
and and for being an African American male, yes, there are challenges.
yeah,
History has shown that, right?
yeah, uh-huh.
However, there is also opportunity,
Yeah,
right? We all
hmm
can take a part in, and not allow that part of history to shape who we are today. And I'm not saying not
yeah,
forget it, because we should never forget where we come from and who we are as a people.
hmm
Well, I don't care if
yep,
you're red, blue, black, green, or yellow.
yeah,
However, there's opportunity in life what you make it,
yeah, yeah,
right? So,
right.
at the end of the day, maybe the American dream to
Yeah,
Frank
I've got,
is a different American dream to Boz.
yeah, right, right. So
So
what?
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what does that mean to you?
To me, what it means is that I fight enough battles out here in this world,
hmm
dealing with the different shall I say, the socioeconomic challenges, as an African American man, the shall I say, the stereotype, and so forth,
Yeah,
and in some cases, I had to ask myself the question: does the American dream really exist?
yeah,
Right? Is it for me?
hmm
Right?
hmm
That's that red, white, and blue flag for me?
yeah,
Right? And please, I'm sharing for the listeners out here. This is men speaking out. I'm talking to Frank Sell, episode 98, and we're talking about Make America Grind Again. Who is the owner of Get Shit Done Coffee? And I
yeah,
just wanted to make sure to throw a little plug. But to go back to what I was just saying, sometimes when you see all of the actual challenges we're facing as people of color,
hmm
you're like, wow, this person is this, and this has not been being done. And when does it stop? When do we all get a fair shot to be looked at as equal individuals? We all
yeah,
bleed red.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? I mean,
right.
so at the end of the day, I welcome guests like yourself, because you seem you're very humble. You know what I'm saying? You're very you're a believer in Christ. You
Yep.
know,
hmm
and you have had an impact on me to
Okay.
make you come back. And I don't have many people 2 times on my show. I'm telling you, that's like far and few between.
Yeah.
However, you work hard to be where you are, and you
Yeah.
didn't ask, and you weren't fed a silver spoon.
No, no, not at all. So I've got a couple things, and this would be like you'd be like the perfect person to talk to this about, ask about.
Sure.
So the first one, I want to tell a little funny story.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this friend named Ron, and Ron's a black man,
Mm-hmm.
and we always joke around, whatever. We're buddies. He calls me one day, and I was like, "What's up, Ron?" And Ron says, "Nothing, man. I'm working like a black man so I can live like a white man."
Huh?
I said, "Ron, that's where you're screwing up because you got to work like a Mexican."
Oh.
And you know what he told me? He told me later when I asked him where he came up with that. He said a Mexican told him that. So it's
Oh
just
my goodness! Oh my goodness! Well, you know what? Hey, hey, it's all fair in love and war, right? It's always fair.
yeah,
All is fair. We gotta laugh. We have to laugh at each other, right? You know what I'm saying? We gotta
yeah.
laugh at ourselves before we laugh at anybody else, right?
And
So
I
it's
think
all
that's a big.
all
We
good.
have to. We
Yeah.
just have to get back to that. Just too many people. It's the self righteousness in being offended. With just life.
Yeah.
And I think people just take that because they don't have anything else going on in their lives. They're not trying to make America grind again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, and that's part of the whole mindset and philosophy behind the Get Shit Done Coffee is that I really look at 100 years ago, we didn't have a lot of these so-called issues because people were just trying to survive. We were building America. We were productive. We
But
were
do you
doing
think?
stuff that meant something.
But do you think we're back there again, though? I mean, right now, look at the economy, right? I mean, look at the economy,
Yeah.
right? Gas prices are they're teetering off a little bit now, right? But
Mhm.
at some point in time, I go to the gas station and fill my car for 70, $80.
Mhm.
I'm like, Jesus.
I know.
You know what I mean? I'm just trying to get to and from work every day, right?
Yeah.
And if you sit and think about the groceries are going up, right?
Mhm.
I mean, groceries are already high. I mean, if you got a family of four, I mean, you're going to spend, who knows, $600 a month, maybe give or take, on
Yeah.
groceries. If that, if maybe
Mhm.
not more, right?
Yeah.
Daycare, just the basic necessities, right?
Yep.
Taking care of your children, making sure you're able to pay your lights, your gas, your mortgage, your be sustainable, and then of course, is that part of the American dream? Is the American dream to struggle? Is the American dream, to you work hard, you work hard, you work hard,
Mhm.
and then you die,
Mhm.
right? So that's why, and according to I believe the actual stats are. Let me just see here. I pulled it up. It's called masslive.com. It was saying that the American dream, 51% of Americans say, roughly 51% of Americans say the
Mhm.
American dream doesn't exist.
Yeah.
How did we
Yeah.
get there? 51%. That's awful. Or is
Yeah,
it
I'd be
reality?
curious to see the the profile of the people they're asking. Are they inner city? Are they rural? Are they industrial? Are they office workers? What kind of who are we asking these questions to? Number one.
Gotcha. Well,
Um,
according to what I'm reading, I'll read a little bit about it, right? It
yeah.
says right here, it says, this is asked 81% of adults are
Mhm.
60 and older in this,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So a little older than you and myself, right?
Yep.
And it's just basically saying that there's a partisan divide, right? This is all about Republican, Democrats, Independent.
Mhm.
It's really political in
Yeah.
this space,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Dude, whatever happened to just loving your neighbor and just everybody just getting along, kumbaya, and everybody getting a shot and opportunity to be in a space to where we all can benefit from it.
Yeah.
It takes all of us here to make the world go round, especially in this US of A.
Oh yeah. I think it depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go and stuff.
Mhm.
You know, look at the division of the family, and the fathers out of the home, and uh, whether it's feminism, communism, all the isms and out there and stuff.
Mhm.
And it's so subtle unless you have a foundation like Christ or the
Yeah,
Bible,
there you go.
then you don't know what to believe. You don't know what to stand on. If you don't believe or stand for anything, then you'll fall for anything. And I think that's just a lot of what's happened is people have um, abdicated, or they just cast off responsibility for their lives, cast off responsibility for their outcomes, um, because number one, like you're saying, the the way the world operates, whether it's the financial system, the economy, it wasn't always this way, and the way that we're taught doesn't explain the way things used to be. Like this, like the Federal Reserve is the third Federal Reserve. There was two before that,
Mhm.
and both of those were deemed illegal and shut down because its Constitution actually guards
Yeah.
against. It specifically points those things out,
Right.
that if you have centralized bank finance like that or fiat currency, people don't understand, don't know what fiat currency is, don't know that it's been tried throughout history, and it always fails. Same thing with communism or socialism. Like the saying goes, eventually you run out of other people's money to support the programs.
Right.
People are just looking for somebody for an answer, when it's generally it's in the mirror and taking responsibility for your own life and just doing the damn work.
All right. So now, there we go. There you go. Now we're going to get into some real questions. That was kind of, listeners, that was kind of a light version. Now we're going to get into a little bit more of
Okay.
a deep dive into this space. Question I got for you is about hard work. Hard
Mhm.
work questions, right? You've been there,
Mhm.
you've been there, you've done that, right? You can write a book
Yep.
about it. You started your business, make America grind again, right?
Yep.
You get shit done, coffee. I mean, the whole message is about pushing through, get shit done, right?
Mhm.
Get on the grind, right? So why is hard work often considered a cornerstone of the American dream?
How else are you gonna get momentum? I mean, it's like steering a parked car, all the old sayings and so on. It's the hard work is sometimes that work might be yourself. It's
Mhm.
not always the physical labor. Sometimes you got to fix some stuff within yourself. You got to fix your spending habits. It's like when I quit my job at 27 years old, I I had the discipline because like my father told me they had a 401k, they had a 6% match or so on.
Mhm.
So like the definition of work was, I did the work of every time I got a raise, I didn't take it. I put it into the 401k because
Mhm.
they would match it. So that set my future self up. And so I think just the definition of work, people get like too stuck on that it's going out and beating the streets and doing actually something physical. So sometimes you have to really do the work of understanding your dreams. What the hell do you really want? How do you define freedom? So there's a lot of things to so-called work on, and then apply yourself once you kind of figure out what you want. That's critical
True.
to knowing what you want out of it, instead
Right.
of saying, oh, I want freedom, or oh, I want a better life. Okay, what's that look like? So it's actually work to sit down, stop, and focus on that, and then either get some pictures. Tony Robbins, everybody says put pictures up, pictures, pictures. Your mind operates in pictures. The really good old book called Psycho Cybernetics. It
Mhm.
talks about how your brain operates in pictures. That's like the foundation of sports psychology. And so I think people get too hung up on the work. Um,
Mhm.
like we talked about last time, they get too hung up on waiting for permission.
Right.
They're afraid of making a mistake. And like all the sayings go, I've just made more mistakes than other people. I just keep moving and
Right.
try to learn.
So here's a question, right? Hard work alone,
Hmm.
or shall I say, can hard work alone guarantee success? To some, maybe. I don't think so, myself personally,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
What other factors are equally important when it comes to work in your from your perspective, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I want to give you my perspective real quick, and then I'll let you answer. If that's okay. I'm asking
Okay.
the question. I think, you know, yes, and the only time when success comes before work is in a dictionary,
Yeah. Yep.
right? You got to
Hmm.
work to be successful.
Hmm.
But success is not defined, in my opinion, just by the work you do. It's defined by the impact you make,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I
Hmm.
can work all day long. I can make all the money in the world. I can be sitting here in 4 or 5 houses, 3, 4, or 5 cars, a bunch of money in my back pocket, whatever, and just living like a king of the now.
Yeah.
However, I can't take none of it with me.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. Never saw a U-Haul behind a hearse.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can't take it with you. So,
Right.
what other impact outside of working
Hmm.
do you need in order to truly find success?
Well, I think it's who you become on the journey. That's the success. That's what people don't quite see.
Mhm.
The Frank Cell at 51 is not the Frank Cell at 27. So you have to become that person along the way. The way you communicate to people, the way you talk to people, and like you're saying, um, the impact that you leave behind you. And it's so like for me, it's kind of like I can't remember where I heard this or learned this, but it's like the three levels of motivation in life. And like the first level of motivation is our stuff, our toys, our shiny things, cool
Mhm.
cars.
Mhm.
The next level of motivation in life is my accomplishments. Look at what I've done. Look at my name on the building, and those sort of things. And the third level of motivation is the legacy. What are people going to remember about me that will never meet me? My great great grandkids or people that don't even know me. So it's that legacy mindset
Mhm.
it really helps guide you, in your day-to-day grind, your day-to-day hustle. There's tons of times it'd be easy to revert to my old self, and in the disc profiles, I'm a high D, a dominant personality. I don't care how shit gets done. I don't care whose feelings get hurt. We're going to get stuff done. Yeah, that's how I used to approach stuff.
Mhm.
um so becoming that leader, uh so I think success is just, there's so many variations of that, that
Mhm.
to get the ultimate success of, like, kind of what we're talking about, the American dream,
Mhm.
which for most people is the financial freedom to live a life the way they want to live it, when and how they want to live it. Well, you have to become a certain kind of person along the way, doing the work on yourself and on the grind. It's just not one simple thing, but all the things are simple.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Touche. That was good. That was good. I like that. I think I myself, I'm all about legacy.
Mhm.
I'm all about making sure that, you know, um, after I'm dead and gone, we can't live forever. What does life look like after me? Well,
Mhm.
how have I provided a footprint or blueprint? That more a blueprint, right? I'm gonna say I'm gonna put footprint back in there again. How about I put
Mhm.
my footprint in the sand, right? It doesn't wash away,
Yeah.
right? But
Mhm.
how can I provide a blueprint for my family to
Mhm.
make sure, say, hey, dad taught us this, granddad said that, whatever, and to make sure that, the only time, like I said, work, come for success, and the book, this name, blah blah blah, and that stick with those that we love, right? Here's the thing, right? You just said your son, put changing our headlights, 14 years old, right?
Mhm.
You know, your daughter with her name, your last name
Madison.
Sale,
Yeah.
Madison,
Mhm.
Madison, yeah,
Yeah.
Sale, right? Your father, Frank Senior, right?
Mhm.
Exactly. So that's legacy, isn't
Yeah. Yeah.
it? It's all
Yeah.
legacy,
Mhm.
right? Right. He set the tone, you set the tone, and they're setting the tone, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
For those who come after them, but it had
Yep.
to start somewhere, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, was everyday holiday? No. Was everything perfect? Absolutely not.
No.
Same thing. We all got demons in our family. It happens. It's okay.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. However, whatever you saw, you probably said to yourself, "Nah, that's not what I'm not. That's not what I'm going to do."
Yeah. Yeah. And that comes back to, oh, we talked about this last time, but I have a philosophy that really helped my personal development. And it is just a question that I asked myself one day: is whose thinking are you thinking? Because the Bible says this, science says this, so many different books say it in different ways, but like sins of the father, sins of the son, and there's other energies can be passed from generation to generation.
Mm.
Um, so when I stopped and looked at my relationships, like with my spouse or my kids or friends, and as an immature, like I say, it takes a man to stand up to the boy in the mirror.
Mhm.
And that means
Wow.
like our patterns, and like especially men, a lot of the anger, we revert to anger when we can't communicate and we don't feel heard. And so I have a couple things on that. And so I really found that in myself, and I had a former relationship that I was in that really exposed that to me. And I saw the manipulation, the Jezebel, the gaslighting, the different things that were leading me to be angry.
Mhm.
And after reading so many different books and so on, like Love and Respect, really talks about the crazy cycle in relationships,
Mhm.
and how like we know each other's buttons and we'll push each other's buttons. It's all an effort to be right and win the battle, win the argument.
Mhm.
Nobody wins the argument. And I've learned through life there's only like 10% of things that I really have to be right on.
Right.
And it's another Frankism is that, like, can you afford to be wrong long enough to be right? Because in those relationships, if I care about the relationship and I want it to improve and be the best that it can be, I don't have to be right every time I'm offended or every time, every situation. Sometimes I can come back after emotions are disengaged because emotion doesn't understand logic. So
Right. There you
if
go.
you're in
That
it, yeah, yeah. And so we get to a situation or a point where like we're not going anywhere in the conversation or the argument. As the man, as the leader, I say, okay, I don't have to be right now.
part. Mhm.
I can diffuse the situation, calm the situation, and then it's circle back later. And a lot of times what I'd found is that that person would say, I'm sorry about that. I was wound up about something else or whatever. And so basically in the biblical point of that or reference is that forgiveness is like dumping
Right.
hot coals on their head. And so what I found out through that by being able to be an armored up man is what I called it because I can withstand the arrows and the darts, the javelins, and it's coming from a broken person, a hurt person from
Mhm.
their perspective and from their thinking and their growing up and so by weathering that storm and valuing that person and not having the need to be right and
Mhm.
win the argument, they will convict themselves. The Holy Spirit will say, "Hey, you're being an asshole." Instead of me telling them they're an asshole, then I'm an asshole for pointing out that they're an asshole.
Mhm.
Instead, if I had the patience and the armor and I can walk away from that engagement, then they'll convict themselves. And if they don't convict themselves, then it's probably somebody that, I don't need to be in a partnership or
Right.
relationship with
Right.
because they have their need to be right outweighs the relationship. And so at that point, it's like, okay, you're right. See you
Wow.
never. And
You just hit on something, right? You just hit on
mhm,
something. I've been married a couple times,
yeah. Mhm,
and at the end of the day, we think about the American dream. We think about the big house, the white picket fence, 2.5 kids. I don't know how you got 2.5 kids, but
we have
you
a
come home
French
with half
bulldog.
arm or half leg or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you think about, what society has deemed to be the American dream,
Mhm,
and you talk about relationships,
yeah.
right?
Mhm,
Talk about having a spouse,
mhm,
and having children, right? Because you want your legacy to live to go on. Is really being married nowadays a
mhm.
part of that American dream? Because things have changed.
Yeah, yeah.
Folks ain't getting married like they used to, right?
Right,
So
right.
do you have to be, in your opinion, do you have to be married or have, be in some sort of union
Mhm.
to be classified as part of that American dream?
Have to be? I don't think so, but it's a whole lot more fun, you know, and that's
Is that
what
true? Is that what it is? Is this more fun? Because
bro.
let me tell you what happened to me. Now I'm just teasing.
You come hang out with us sometime. Well,
Yeah, it's all good. I'll be down in Kansas City. I like them Chiefs. I like them Chiefs. They're all right. I like that Patrick Mahomes. He's all right with me. Go ahead.
yeah, there we go. Yeah. It's like, and that's just part of showing up, part of slowing down, writing down what you really want. For me, after my last excursion in relationships, it was good lord, man.
I'm gonna
It'd be
use
like a
that word.
it'd be like a Netflix tragedy. Good man.
Excursion. Oh my goodness.
But ultimately with the right perception, right lens, it was
Yes.
equipping me for where I'm at now and to really appreciate my wife.
There
Um,
you go.
like I said, I've never been in a relationship in my life and I can completely love myself. And I think that's what a lot of people they just don't have boundaries. They don't have principles. and they just allow, that hot chick or the dude with the cool truck or the rich dude or so, there's their principles are non-existent or they
Mhm.
don't stand for them.
Mhm.
So when my ex and I got divorced, I sat down and just it's like, okay, the first time I had no plan other than, I thought this chick was attractive.
Mhm. Mhm.
The next time I had a few conversations, but I ignored some red flags that would have saved me a lot of pain, would have saved my kids a lot of pain.
Mhm.
Um, so this time I just sat down, wrote it down, and anytime those little flags popped up, I'm like, eh,
Yeah.
I'm not too interested in that. I've been there. I've seen how that works.
Yeah.
So like the ego wants to tell you, oh, I can outwork this. I can be man enough. I can save this person, whatever. Um, especially at our stage of life, like, you should
Sure.
have saved your damn self by now.
Yeah. Exactly. That's very. Thank you for sharing that. I was thinking, being a single man myself, and I
Mhm,
asked myself the $1 million question. I said, you know what, boss? I said, you want to be married again, and I do. I do.
mhm.
I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Listeners, yes, I do want to be married again. So I want to make sure that the world know that I'm not living this life to be a single man. I already been a young fool. I ain't trying to be an old one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that's part of my dream, right? My
Mhm.
American dream. Yes, podcast. I'm a certified life coach. Things are cool. I'm a father, a grandfather.
Yeah.
Doing okay. Going to travel a little bit on occasion. See the
Uh-huh.
world. However, it's always good to do it with somebody you love.
Yeah.
It's always
Mhm.
good to do it with somebody you care about, someone you can enjoy and turn pages of a history book with someone.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm definitely wanting to be married again. That is a definite.
Mhm.
However, it's got to be right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got to be right. So I am a husband. If I
Right,
say that, right? Yeah,
right.
I am a husband, right? By nature, that
Yeah.
is, right? And the challenge for that part of my American dream is that,
Mhm.
you know, um, yes, I'm approached on a daily basis by different individuals,
Mhm.
my excursions, as you would say, you know, uh, but I want to be an example in the patriarch of my family,
Yeah.
and be an example. So I think when it comes to the American dream, we talk about, working, you know, we're going to get on education here in a second, right? Opportunity, community involvement,
Mhm.
but loving the right person and putting God in that space, putting Christ in that space is so important,
Yeah.
because I got baptized in 2023, and
Okay.
and I came out of that, and I said, you know what, hashtag next me, best me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I took the journey, therapy and everything else in between, right? And which
Uh-huh.
brought me to life coaching to work with men who've been through divorce,
Yep.
you know.
Mhm.
So my life has to have purpose. I cannot be here on this earth and not have purpose. So that is like my dream, right?
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
my American dream, to be the best friend, the best podcaster, the
Mhm.
best host of Frank Sale, right? And to get shit done, and and to really be, um, shall I say, a North Star
Right.
to those around me.
Right. The lighthouse.
The
You just
lighthouse, right? I want you to
Yeah.
feel I want you, Frank, to feel the energy on the call right now.
Right. I'm feeling it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
So, um, that is Boz's American dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I believe it. It's worth it. And that's what, like our wedding vows, um, something that I told my wife often before we got married, and it was because we met, probably 25 years ago, We didn't even really meet. I didn't meet her. She knew who I was from racing dirt bikes. Her ex raced dirt bikes. I was fast local guy. And so he liked to tell everybody that he knew me. So he would always come watch me race and stuff. So he'd drag her with him. And I never knew her. I never met her. I only remember seeing her one time, a little 18, 19-year-old her at a house party 25 years ago.
Right.
They were laying on the floor, and I walked in the door, and she turned around to see who walked in the door. And it's just one of those deals like, oh my God. That was all I knew about her, who she was dating. I didn't know her name.
Right.
Anyhow, when we got together, we met through Facebook in 2020 or 2019.
Oh, wow.
After both of us were going through divorces or had just gone through divorce. We had no connection for that whole time period, 20 plus years. She came up as a suggested Facebook friend. And I think you've seen pictures of us or you've seen pictures of her.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, yeah, I want to be friends with that. So I send her a friend request. We start talking, start chatting, and in conversations, she brings up her ex-husband's name, and I'm thinking, why do you think I should know that? And I see her last name, and it clicks that, holy shit, you're that girl from 25 years ago. And I knew right then that we were going to get married because I knew what God had done. So all these relationships that I had been through, all two of them, they had refined me into the man that I am today.
There you go.
And that man, she thinks I've got her fooled. She thinks that's the greatest man she's ever met. The hardest working, whatever. And so, I told her, and this became one of our wedding vows. And she actually made me cry because she said it to me. But what I told her was that 10 years, 20 years, it didn't matter. She's worth it because she is what my heart really wanted. I had written it down, what I wanted, and she's the living epitome of that. And so whether it was 10 years, 20 years, however long it took for me to grow up and be that man, that qualifies for that woman. And so that's, if you want those things, then you just have to become that person and then not accept anything less in your life.
Wow. Frank, I tell you, man, you definitely know how to cap off a show. That's for sure. That is for sure. Frank, thank you, my friend. Thank you. I really appreciate you. Everyone, listen in, listen up, listen on. I got Frank Sale on the call here, and Frank is the founder of Get Shit Done Coffee, right? Frank started off, with a VHS tape, and he went through and learned how to basically remove dents out of vehicles, right? With that, storm, I guess, like hail dents or whatever it was, right? You were running, right? From Kansas City. He is the gentleman who coined the phrase, "Make America Grind Again." Frank, my friend, I appreciate you. I thank you. Dude, I got to come to Kansas City and watch a football game. I know you watch football. I know you're a football guy. You got to be a football guy.
No.
Dude, come on, man.
It's all motorsports for me.
So you like the what do you call the guys that they get the dirt ramps and jumps and stuff?
Yeah, that's me. You see the trophies behind me.
Yeah, nice. Motocross, right? They call it motocross, don't it?
Yeah, motocross.
So no monster trucks, no grave digger or megalodon or nothing like that.
No, that oddly enough, that's probably a little too redneck for me.
Okay, well, my grandson likes that, so I'll keep that in mind.
Children and rednecks, you go have fun.
Sounds good. Frank, my friend, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys tuning in to Frank Sale, Get Shit Done Coffee. And his website is homeofthehustle.com. Please, I need to get some of that coffee. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I was like, listen, I'm going to go interview a gentleman named Frank Sale. They were like, hey, what do you think you can, how much would a case cost? I was like, let me ask him. Well, you can talk about that offline though, right? Because I see that case I want right behind you, right there on your left-hand side, right next to your ear, right there in the back. That's what I want. So it's all good. My friend, thank you. I appreciate you. God bless.
My pleasure, boss.
You got it.